AITA for refusing to let my stepdaughter move back in after what she did to my daughter. I, 42F, have a daughter, Emily, 17, from a previous relationship. I married my husband, Mark, 45, 5 years ago, and he has a daughter, Sarah, 18, from his previous marriage. When we first moved in together, our girls were 13 and 14. It was a rough transition at first, as expected with teenage girls, but I tried hard to create a peaceful, blended household. Mark and I have pretty different parenting styles. I'm more structured. I believe in boundaries, responsibilities, consequences. Mark is more laid back and believes kids should figure things out themselves. I let some things slide for the sake of our marriage, but I always held firm when it came to Emily's safety and well-being. Sarah was difficult from the start. She was hostile toward me and Emily, called our home not her real home, refused to join family dinners, and would go out all night without checking in. Mark kept telling me it was just a phase and not to push her. I disagreed, but again, I picked my battles. Over the last year, things got worse. Sarah started openly bullying Emily. I didn't even realize how bad it was until Emily broke down one night and told me everything. Sarah would call her fat, ugly, pathetic, and constantly mock her for not having many friends. She would steal her clothes, use her makeup, then blame her if anything was missing or broken. I was horrified. I confronted Mark and told him this had to stop. He said, "Girls fight. Sisters fight. They'll work it out." I told him this wasn't normal sister behavior. This was targeted cruelty. I laid down the law and told Sarah that any further behavior like that would have consequences. Mark wasn't happy, but I didn't care anymore. Then, 2 months ago, it all blew up. Emily got into a local university's pre-college summer program. She was over the moon. It was a huge deal, and she'd worked so hard. Sarah, apparently jealous, decided to prank her. The prank involved Sarah logging into Emily's application portal. She somehow got her password, withdrawing her application, and sending a fake rejection letter to her email. Emily was devastated. She cried for days, thinking she wasn't good enough. When I finally discovered what Sarah had done, through a classmate who mentioned seeing Emily on the admitted students list, I lost it. I confronted Sarah, who smirked and said, "It was just a joke. She's so dramatic." I told Mark that Sarah had to go. She was 18, graduated from high school, and had a part-time job. She could live with her mom or a friend, but she was no longer welcome in my house. I couldn't protect Emily with Sarah under our roof. Mark begged me to reconsider, said it was a mistake, that Sarah didn't realize how serious it was. I said I didn't care. She'd crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. Sarah moved in with her mom. Emily got back into the program. Thankfully, they were understanding after we explained what happened, but she's still in therapy for anxiety and self-esteem issues. I'm furious with myself for not acting sooner. Now here's where the situation gets complicated. 3 weeks ago, Sarah called crying. Her mom is moving to another state to care for an elderly relative and told Sarah she can't come with her. Sarah doesn't have enough income to live on her own yet. She asked if she could move back in just for a few months until she saves enough to get her own place. I said no. Mark got angry, told me I was being cruel. He said Sarah was still his daughter and we had a responsibility to help her. I said my responsibility is to my daughter, and Sarah destroyed any trust one could possibly have in her. I told him I couldn't and wouldn't put Emily through that again. He tried to argue that Sarah had changed, that she apologized, she sent one half-hearted text a month ago, and that I should be the bigger person. I said Emily is finally starting to heal, and bringing Sarah back would undo all of that. Emily has said flat out that if Sarah comes back, she'll leave. Mark is now staying at a hotel. He says I've chosen sides, and that if I can't forgive Sarah, our marriage may not survive this. His family is calling me heartless, saying she's just a kid and kids make mistakes. My own friends are split. Some say I'm protecting my daughter. Others say I should at least let Sarah come back with conditions. I don't feel safe letting her back. I worry she'll retaliate again. But I can't lie and say it doesn't sting that it might cost me my marriage. So Reddit, AITA for refusing to let my stepdaughter move back in? If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps the content grow and motivates me to create even more great videos. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any new uploads. By the way, I'm curious, when do you usually watch my videos? While working, studying, or just relaxing at home? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for your support. AITA for refusing to help my sister after she kicked me out of her wedding for embarrassing her. I, 28F, have a sister, Katie, 32F, who got married earlier this year. Growing up, we were very close until high school, when she became part of the popular crowd and suddenly decided I was too weird to be seen with. I was into books, video games, and anime. She was into cheerleading, parties, and dating guys way too old for her. We drifted apart, and while we remained somewhat in contact, it was always surface level. Katie has always been self-conscious about appearances and what other people think. She was a social climber from the start and always dated people who could offer her something, money, connections, etc. Her now husband, 35M, Greg, is a wealthy dentist. He's nice enough, but very much the status type. They met at a charity event 2 years ago, got engaged in under a year, and planned a massive wedding that, to me, seemed more about impressing people than love. Now, for some important context, I was born with a rare autoimmune condition that causes unpredictable skin flare-ups. It's not contagious or dangerous, but it does cause my skin to swell, redden, or develop hives under stress or heat. I've dealt with it since I was a kid. Some days I look totally fine, others I wake up looking like I tangled with a hornet's nest. I've tried dozens of treatments. Some help, some don't. It's a part of my life, and while I used to be insecure about it, I've grown into myself and learned not to let it control how I live. Anyway, back to the wedding. I wasn't asked to be a bridesmaid, which stung a little, but I chalked it up to us not being close. Katie did ask me to be there early, help set up, and even do some readings during the ceremony, which I agreed to because I wanted to support her. The morning of the wedding, I woke up with a moderate flare-up on my face and neck. Not the worst I've had, but noticeable. I did my best to reduce it with my usual routine, but it wasn't going away entirely. I put on my dress, did my makeup to tone it down, and headed to the venue. As soon as Katie saw me, she pulled me aside and hissed, "What's wrong with your face?" I told her I had a flare-up and reminded her of my condition. She looked horrified and said, "You can't be in the photos like this. People will think something's wrong with you. It's going to distract from everything." I thought she was joking. She wasn't. She told me to sit in the back during the ceremony and maybe sneak out before the reception. I was stunned. I reminded her I was supposed to do a reading, and she said, "We'll ask someone else. I'm sorry, but you'll ruin the pictures." I was completely blindsided. I tried to keep my cool and asked her if she was seriously kicking me out over something I can't control. She said she wasn't kicking me out, just asking me not to be seen. I told her that was even worse. So I left. I didn't stay for the ceremony or the reception. I texted my parents what happened and went home in tears. They were sympathetic, but begged me not to make a scene. The next day, Katie texted me saying she was sorry I was upset, but that I should have known better than to show up like that on her big day. I left her on read. That was 6 months ago. Last week, Katie called me out of the blue, panicking. She and Greg are moving into their new house, and she needs help watching their dog for 2 weeks while they handle renovations. Apparently, their pet sitter bailed, and no one else is available. She said I was the only one she could trust. I told her no. She was shocked. I said I didn't feel comfortable helping someone who couldn't even be seen with me in public. She accused me of holding a grudge and being vindictive. I told her it wasn't a grudge, it was a boundary. Since then, my parents have been on my case. They say I'm being petty and that family helps family. I asked them if they thought it was okay for Katie to treat me like I was diseased just because my skin didn't look perfect. They got quiet and then said, it was her wedding day, emotions were high. I feel like I'm being gaslit into accepting that I was in the wrong for even showing up. Here's the kicker. I found out later that the wedding photographer edited my parents' pictures to remove me. Like I never even existed at the event. So yeah, maybe I'm holding a grudge. But maybe I'm also just tired of being the family scapegoat or pity project. Every time I've needed Katie, she's ghosted or minimized my struggles. But now that she needs help, I'm expected to just forget everything and say yes. So, AITA for saying no. AITA for telling my dad's wife that she's not my stepmother and never will be. My mom died when I was 12. It was a sudden aneurysm. She was there one morning, gone by dinner. She was my best friend, the person who got me, who never tried to fix me when I was quiet or weird or sad. She made me feel safe in a world that stopped making sense when she died. I'm 24 now, and my dad, 52, got remarried last year to a woman named Lisa, 49. They dated for about 3 years before that. He met her maybe 2 years after Mom died, and they got serious pretty fast, but he waited a while before introducing her to me. I was in high school then, and already not in a good place emotionally. Therapy helped some, but I wasn't ready to accept anyone new in my mom's space, even just emotionally. Lisa is a perfectly fine person. She's nice enough, polite, involved in community stuff, and very enthusiastic. That's part of the issue, honestly. She came and tried to be a bonus mom before I was ready to even call her my dad's girlfriend. She'd say things like our family and your dad and I just want the best for our kids, even though she has 2 sons of her own and I never once said I needed another parent. At first, I tried to give her the benefit of the doubt. I figured maybe she didn't realize how hard it was for me. But she never stopped, even after I set boundaries. I said early on, I appreciate that you care, but I don't see you as a parental figure. I have one mom, and she's gone. Lisa cried. I mean full-on sobbed, and then told my dad I was pushing her away. That became a pattern. I set a boundary. She got hurt. My dad told me to just go with it for the sake of peace. It felt like everyone wanted me to perform the role of loving stepdaughter, and every time I didn't, I was cold or mean. Last month was the anniversary of my mom's death, 12 years. It's always a hard day, but I usually take it off work and spend it alone. This year I posted a photo of her and me on Instagram with a caption about how I missed her and hoped I was becoming someone she'd be proud of. I don't use social media a ton, but I guess Lisa saw it and felt something. Later that day, she texted me a long message. It said that while she understood I missed my mom, she hoped I'd one day be able to accept the family I do have, and that I should start letting her in more. She ended it with, I know I'll never replace your mom, but I'd love to be your stepmom in the ways that matter. I didn't respond right away. I was upset. My mom's death anniversary is not the time to push that on me. 2 days later, my dad invited me over for dinner. Just us 3. I suspected it was a setup, but I went because I wanted to believe maybe it was just a normal meal. Nope. After dessert, Lisa said, I hope you read my message. I meant every word. I really want us to move forward as a family. I said calmly, I read it. I think you meant well, but I don't see you as a stepmom. You're my dad's wife. That's the relationship I'm comfortable with. She looked stunned, then teary. My dad gave me the look, the one that says just say what she wants to hear. I didn't. I said, I've asked you not to push this before. I'm not being cruel. I'm just being honest. Lisa said, so I'll never be family to you? After all these years. I said, not in the way you want. You're not my stepmom. You never were. She got up and left the table. My dad followed. I heard her crying in the hallway. He came back and said, was that really necessary? I said, I told the truth. He said, you're an adult. You could have handled it with more kindness. I said, I've tried kindness. She didn't want kindness. She wanted submission. We haven't spoken since. My dad texted me a few days ago, saying Lisa is still heartbroken and that I need to apologize for refusing her as family. Here's where I might be the asshole. Maybe I could have softened it more. Maybe I am cold. Maybe I should just accept that Lisa wants to love me and stop making it so hard. I don't hate her. I just don't want to fake a relationship I don't feel. I don't want to pretend she raised me. She didn't. She didn't even meet me until I was 15, and I was already buried under grief and trying to survive high school. It's not like I make a big deal about excluding her. I don't do petty stuff. I send her birthday gifts. I invite her to things with my dad. I'm polite. I just won't call her my stepmom. I won't pretend this is some blended family fairy tale. Some of my friends think I'm being harsh, that I should be grateful someone wants to be a maternal figure in my life. But I never asked for that. I wanted space. I wanted to be treated like someone capable of deciding what kind of relationship I'm comfortable with. I don't think that's cruel. Still, the guilt is getting to me. My dad is clearly upset. Lisa is probably never going to stop being hurt. And part of me wonders if I'm clinging too hard to something just because it protects me. So Reddit, AITA for telling my dad's wife she's not and never will be my stepmom?